Hey, I'm Satch. I draw and animate, and recently I've been going through a bit of a training arc with my drawing, and I'm liking the results so far. So I thought I'd share what's been working for me. I'm going to show you how I went from here to here with this 1-hour exercise that I've put together. One of the key elements to stronger drawing is working on your fundamentals, and what we're mainly focusing on here is the skill of observation. I think this trick is best implemented as reinforcement for fundamentals, but I'm interested to hear from you if you're trying this as a beginner. With this exercise, I like to think of it as speed running the development of fundamentals, and it works through the concept of failing faster. I'll tell you the specifics of why it works later. For now, let's just get right into the exercise. First thing you're going to want to do is collect 3 photo references. Strong fundamentals are built on observing reality. For this exercise, we're going to be working on 3 portrait sketches. Don't be too picky, but pick ones that'll look like they'll be fun to draw. I've definitely fallen into the trap of looking for the perfect references, taking hours just browsing photo sites. Then, by the time I gather my references, I don't even feel like drawing anymore. So don't overthink your references for this. You've got drawing to do. I recommend gathering a variety of different faces and expressions. This will not only keep the exercise interesting, but you could use this exercise as an opportunity to challenge yourself to draw different feature types you may not have tried before. Once I've got my references, I like to line them up like this. We'll be using them sequentially, and I find this setup works well for me. If you're not working digitally, this method could still work for you. You just have to get creative with the resources available to you. Next step, we're going to be doing some timed drawings. Try to get as accurate as you can within 10 minutes, but feel free to stylize as well. Experiment with how your style can capture the essence of the reference. A lot of folks start at different places when drawing a portrait. I like to start with the overall head shape and the nose. I find the nose can be a good initial indicator of where the face is pointing, and can inform how the other elements of the face are to be drawn. Once the 10 minutes are up, immediately move on to the next drawing. Once you get rolling in the drawing flow, you want to keep carrying that momentum. I know I'm not the only one when I say it's easier to continue drawing than it is to start drawing. The reason we're moving on so quickly is so we don't fall into the trap of perfectionism. It slows you down, takes you out of flow, and can be a potential roadblock in this learning process. Right now, we're just looking to get as far as we can within the limit and calling it finished. I know you're tempted, but don't go back and fix things. Let's say you don't like how you drew the eyes in the first drawing. See if it's something you could learn from when approaching the next. Once your 30 minutes of drawing is up, take a minute to look over your work. Make a mental note of what you think worked and what you think didn't work. I feel pretty good about this first go. I think I capture like the basic parts of it. I think I did kind of okay with capturing the overall feel of the photo. There are definitely places I'd like to improve here though. I feel like the eye on the right side is a little too underdeveloped. I also feel like I didn't quite capture the eyebrows well. I feel like there's a lot of personality in the eyebrows here, and I didn't really capture that vibe. Definitely not satisfied with the second one. I had trouble trying to figure out the eyes and the eyebrows. I hadn't really drawn this sort of eye shape before, so it was a bit of a challenge for me. The weakest part for me is the hair. I did not know how to approach drawing this hair. I think I tried to draw too much. At the very least, it looks too much. I had a hard time trying to stylize it, I guess. Overall, I think I got the head shape okay, but I didn't quite get the ear. Now this last one, I definitely do not feel good about. I feel like I completely failed in capturing the vibe. Like, this person that I drew looks drunk. I think I drew a different hairstyle than is actually in the photo as well. I think the way I drew this here is very flat, especially in the eyes and in the bangs. The mouth is also lacking in some important detail that I just sort of replaced with a void, and that does not look good at all. Now that we've thoroughly roasted ourselves, we can hide our shame. Putting them away will keep them from distracting us while we do another 30-minute run through our same references, armed with the knowledge of avoiding our past mistakes. Start with the reference you started with before, and try to look for what you didn't notice in the first try. So here I really paid a lot more attention to the shape of the head and the position of the nose, because in knowing those, I was able to more accurately plot out where the eyes go and what a more accurate shape is. I also paid much more attention to the overall shape of the hair, because in finding the outline, I was able to better find what goes inside. Getting into the second one, I paid more attention to the overall shape of the chin and the cheek, because I think those are the most distinct features of this face. You could see that like the previous drawing, I took a similar approach to the hair in that I've done an outline and then did some detailing on that. I think this looks much better than trying to like zigzag my way through the inside of the hair, and we come to a much more appealing take on it. I also took a different approach to drawing the nose because I didn't quite like how that looked in the first try, and I think this one captures the nose a lot better. For this third drawing, I took a different approach in everything compared to the first iteration. I paid extra attention to the head shape, I paid extra attention to the angle of the nose, and I especially took extra attention in drawing the mouth and eyes. You could also see that I take a slower approach in drawing out the hair. I draw it out in different sections, and in doing that I was able to notice that the direction of the hair in the back makes a much more dramatic change, and that's not something that I picked up on in the first iteration. Like I mentioned before, we're engaging with the concept of failing faster, and this concept enables us to learn faster. We do a first try, make note of what works and what doesn't, then try again with the knowledge of where to improve. It's an iterative process that helps us learn much faster than if we were to approach the exercise through perfectionism, trying too hard to get it right and avoid mistakes in our first try. Perfectionism will keep you stuck, overworking, and overthinking, when you could be spending that overthinking time on actually getting more practice in. Once you've got the second batch done, it's time to pull up your first drawings and compare. The difference between where you started and where you're at now will be pretty obvious. Make note of the most dramatic changes between iterations. The differences in the new iteration may not always be an overall improvement, but through this comparison we could become much more aware of where we've improved and what could still be improved on. So, why hop around different drawings when we could just keep drawing one reference over and over again? While you probably could get similar results, I find that moving on to other references will maximize the amount of change you see between iterations. By stepping away from one reference into another, we keep the first reference from getting stale in our minds. It's kind of like how if you keep saying a word over and over, it starts to lose meaning and just becomes a weird sound. Taking time away from a reference to develop elsewhere ensures some notable progression on our return as well. More importantly though, I think it keeps the exercise much more interesting. I think it's always worthwhile to try to make your practice time something you enjoy, rather than let it feel like a chore. But hey, let me let you in on a little secret. If you're looking to get even more gains from this exercise, I highly recommend scaling it up. 3 iterations with 5 to 10 references at 15 minutes each. That's actually what I did to achieve this drawing, and I really like the results. If you'd like even more of a challenge, try shortening the time. Play around with this exercise and see what works for you and your development. Ultimately, you've got to put in the hours, but if 1 hour is all you can spare in the day to practice, this should get you at least some tangible results. Let me know in the comments if you find this helpful. Like I said before, this is what's been working for me. I'm sure other artists came up with something similar. And hey, let me know what changes worked for you too. Just might end up helping somebody else.